Good sunny afternoon from Lake Pomme de Terre. 4/23/2017, 3:31 p.m. Guess what today is? Today's talk about codename Nicha and the happy place. I found the happy place. I knew it was there, but I didn't know what the purpose was. My mother gave her a similar item to this back between 93 and 95, because Mom was trying to be her friend. Well, doesn't everyone pretty much need a friend? She was in a new town. She was going to start a new school. She had us, but hey, come off it, right? You got to have someone outside your main dwelling. I mean, most people do. If they don't, they maybe should consider it after this horror story that I related since 97 when I got the files. Okay, my mom sold Avon, and she was in the President's Club of Avon because she did quite well, but this is one of the items that she gave her, and after the ordeal in 95, I went in the room, and there's this set within reach of the bed. Her bed. And I had been downtown, and I had asked about the DNA and mentioned that there was a pile of laundry in there, or a basket, or whatever it was. I believe it was a basket that hadn't been laundered, that maybe they could check it. You know how, I guess maybe it's a TV meme that we've gotten in our head, that that's how things go. You know, if there's a crime, the police check stuff and they test for DNA and blah, blah, blah. Me and the blah, blah, blah. I'll try to quit that. Alright, so it's like, well, no. You know, this was before he had entered a plea that I tried to get this to happen for him. And even my mom was like, well, Veronica, why don't they get those clothes and check them? They're in the laundry basket. Well, Mom, I don't know. That's the same thing I was kind of wondering. You know? But this here's the implement that she named Dad, because Dad got the blame of it ultimately, or blame for it ultimately. This was the implementation of self-rape. It's called rape by implementation. And this is what she had done to herself. There's no denying this. There's no denying this at all. And she named it Dad. And blamed Dad. This is the happy place. How can someone be so self-fulfilling that even after claiming that their home, where they had made a home, was a place of crime that was committed on you 2 to 3 times a day, and then go back to it after reporting it, go right back in, have a conversation for the person you just pointed a finger at, a false finger. How can you, every time you leave this place of crime, go to school, go to church, go clear to Iowa, go clear to the commune, spend the weekend, your monthly visit weekend, or the 6-week summer vacation there, and continue with it being known as your happy place. And if it's not a happy place, why isn't it reported as not a happy place on any of those occasions that were made available? This person had all these different occasions available, even made available to her by the man, her dad, my spouse, that she called the 2100 time crazy rapist. Not the exact phrase, of course, but I have to do something to keep my end of it light, you know. To say this 2100 time crazy rapist is my happy place. That's why I don't report it. That's why I don't run away from it while I have opportunity given to me. When they go shopping or when they go out in the evening for coffee way out on South 65 in Sedalia, Missouri, 65301. Every time I'm out with my stepmother's mother and father, either at the cabin, at the lake, at dinner, at church, I still go back to this place that's now being known as Codename Nicha's Happy Place, because she didn't make it anything between 93 and 95 to distinguish it as anything else other than a happy place. And no reports on this so-called crazy rapist. Not one until 2100 times. And you see this is Snow White. And I have here listed base programming, because I believe, and he believed too at the very start, and mentioned it to someone, that she had been mind controlled at the commune. Well, we hadn't really been able to prove it. But see here, one of the base program reinforcements, Snow White, right there, for monarch Nazi mind control. And yes, I will leave the links. The Tall Book of Make-Believe. And the funny thing is, she's living next to a preschool now called Imagination Station. Well, imagine that. Imagine that. And her big old imagination about this here rape implementation object. It's an Avon bottle of all things. She raped herself and blamed her dad. Raped herself with a dog-shaped Avon bottle. And I've referred to it in other posts as a dog that's standing on its hinds. Well, you see, it is. Dogs don't stand that way, of course, you know that. This one's up, like, begging. In this case, it's begging Codename Nicha to stop raping herself with it. She raped herself with an Avon bottle that looked like a dog standing on its hinds named Daddy. Via implementation. Then her already explosive frustration decided to take the anger out on a man who took her to therapy, not knowing exactly what was wrong with her head, paid for it out of pocket, because the county at that point did not want to help him. See, our thought on that was they had been getting some kind of county up there in Iowa. Of course, when you're living like that, the county eventually will poke its head in. But the way I understand it, the prosecutor of that county was actually a member of that church with that commune. So whatever was being reported against the commune was like not making it all the way out. They had it glass ceilinged. There's a glass ceiling over it because the prosecutor's involvement in that Davis City, Iowa commune. So maybe the reports got file 13. Maybe they got, crap canned, whatever you want to call it. But nobody took action on the reports by the members' family. Other members who lived there. There at one time was 60 different people there. Well, of course they have family. They're not all interrelated. A few of them are that we knew of. But they had family, and they were concerned family, and they made reports as concerned family. Nobody could ever do anything. It went on for years and years this way. So obviously, the final dot in that one that never did go anywhere would be that county's prosecutor, and I can't think of the name of the county right offhand. It might be Decatur, but I'm not actually for sure. So, and there's a lot of little girls this way. Maybe her head got messed up in therapy, in exit therapy. She started going with us to our appointments before we got hers set, because I had my appointment in one place, and then across town, John's appointment at the VA, or appointments, or usually at least a couple different people he'd have to see. Alright, so she rode up a couple times at least, just to be having something to do, to go somewhere with us. And I believe her brother did too, come to think of it. And they just hang around the waiting rooms, you know, like anyone else would, waiting for appointments. Then, one of the cousins that had been a member up there at the commune sent information. They had broken away from the commune and went to some in-house therapy. I believe it was in Michigan, but I can't swear to it. An institution called, oh, excuse me, I've got a cinnamon in my mouth, about choked me. Wellsprings. Alright, and it was for cult recovery. Cult abuse recovery. And while they're in there, they wrote a book, which the commune got word of. Probably the kids talking back and forth in letters and whatnot. So they thwarted the publication of this book. And one of the main reasons for that was because technically it wasn't a cult. Technically, they couldn't call it a cult, and that's what it was called in the book. And that they didn't want their lives depicted the way they were or something. I don't know exactly now, but they thwarted the production of it, and that was that. So, but with that information that they sent, and John was a regular down at the public library, which I've discussed in another video, but I might come back again after this one and go into that a little bit. But he was able to find an actual exit therapist at Columbia, Missouri. So that's where he started arranging her appointments, and we went to the initial one because he and I both were invited to go to the initial one. And then after that, there were one or two that she went to on her own while we waited out in the van. Except for one, and I was sick and it was snowing, and that might have been church though, and I think I've discussed that. Oh well, I'm going to cut this off anyway. We'll try to iron that out in the next one. I'm running down here on 1434 out of 15, so thanks for watching.